Terrell, he's a senior counselor to the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights. He said the former First Lady of the United States, Jill Biden, should be criminally charged for elder abuse.
There are people who knew and said nothing. And that is a crime against this republic. And I think the Democrats are going to pay for a long time for being a part of what is now being revealed to be a massive cover-up.
Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew on their podcast brought up a good point yesterday. They said this: the president is the most diagnostically watched from a medical standpoint than any human being in this world. You cannot tell me that they just found out that he had cancer. They've known this for years. They've been treating it for years. That's why you find the stumbling up the stairs. You find the press lit at 4 o'clock. You see all these things. It is by the God's grace that we did not get ourselves into a nuclear war. They knew he had cancer. They knew he was sick. They knew he did not have the ability to lead this country. They lied to us.
Joe Biden has been saying stupid things for decades. Okay,
I get what you're saying, but this minimizes it too, because it was more than saying stupid things. But I'm telling you, like over here in my ecosphere, we were covering all of these. It wasn't just falling down; it was getting lost. It was some of the stuff you report in your book. We knew, and we were reporting on, like the multi-jump cuts in the videos of him, where it was obvious he couldn't get through a 1-minute take, so they had to use those. It was clear to us that he was using teleprompter and there was some reporting on that at the time, all of which the White House was denying. Now, with the current White House, I have some connections. With the Joe Biden White House, I had none. But you did. You've been in Washington 30 years, Jake. You guys, you and CNN have White House connections. But there was no effort, none, to get to the bottom of this. And now for you guys to write this book like there was a cover-up, it's like there was a cover-up and it was an attempted cover-up. It could only ever work if you allowed it.
The G20 is going to South Africa. When is that going to be?
In November.
In November.
And thereafter, I hand over to you. And
yes, we have it next.
You originated the G20, so I'll hand over the baton to you. Right. Then you lead the G20.
We're going to have it the following year.
Yeah.
We're going to be discussing some of the things that are taking place in South Africa and see if we can help. And we want to help.
I'd like to thank you for allowing your people to start discussions with us at the trade level. I mean, we are essentially here to reset the relationship between the United States and South Africa.
72% of farmers in your country are white. If they flee, do you feel that maybe the economy could collapse? You may not have a gap to fill in those people that need to replace those farmers.
You know, I'd like my Minister of Agriculture, who is white, who comes from an opposition party to mine, who's joined my government at my invitation to address this very issue, including the question that you just raised.
A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is part of a revolutionary act. Shoot to kill! Come on, sir!
I'm saying you was not called for the killing of white people, at least for now.
These are burial sites right here. Burial sites, over 1,000 of white farmers, and those cars are lined up to pay love on a Sunday morning. Each one of those white things you see is a cross. They're all white farmers, the family of white farmers. Both sides of the road you have crosses.
I'd like to know where that is, because this I've never seen.
These are articles over the last few days. Death of people. Death, 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 horrible death. And he asks about a jet that was given. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You know, you are so bad. You're such a bad reporter. And these are people that are officials, and they're saying that kill the white farmer and take their land. That's what. And I have other friends in South Africa. I have people that left. One in particular that says you can't go there. He said they want to take your land, they take your land, and they kill you. These are all people that recently got killed.
These are concerns that we are willing to talk to you about. In one of our areas in South Africa, we're using U.S. technology, which is able to, in many ways, identify where shootings are happening and all that.
But why wouldn't you arrest that man? That man said, kill the white farmers, kill the white farmers. And then he danced, and he's dancing, and it's kill the white farmers. I'm not sure, but I think if somebody got up in Parliament and started saying kill a certain group of people, he would be arrested very quickly. That man is going all over South Africa, and that's not a small party. That was a stadium that holds 100,000 people, and I hardly saw an empty seat. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of representation. And those crosses, we have dead white people, dead white farmers, mostly. And you take a look at Australia, they're being inundated, and we're being inundated with people that want to get out. And their farm is valueless. It's valueless. And they just want to get out with their life. And this is a very serious situation. You got to get out of here. What does this have to do with the Qatari jet? They're giving the United States Air Force a jet, okay? And it's a great thing. We're talking about a lot of other things. This NBC trying to get off the subject of what you just saw. You are you're a terrible reporter. Number one, you don't have what it takes to be a reporter. You're not smart enough. But for you to go into a subject about a jet that was given to the United States Air Force, which is a very nice thing. They also gave $5.1 trillion worth of investment in addition to the jet. Go back. You ought to go back to your studio at NBC. If we had a real news or real press or media, we don't have that because they won't talk about this because they're all guys like that idiot. But if we had a real press, it would be exposed. And you know the beauty of exposing it is it's like a cleansing action. When it gets exposed, it'll get fixed. You're a disgrace. No more questions from you. This is a group, NBC, that is truly fake news. They ask a lot of questions in a very pointed way. They're not questions, they're statements. When you say we don't take others, all you have to do is take a look at the southern border. We let 21 million people come through our border. So don't say that we didn't take them, we take them. We're trying to get them out as fast as we can. We're allowed to send back hundreds of criminals to Venezuela. Just won that today in the Supreme Court. But we have many people that feel they're being persecuted and they're coming to the United States. So we take from many locations if we feel there's persecution or genocide going on.
Judiciary that keeps stomping all over the actions of the executive.
Well, there are remedies, and I think they should be explored. Jurisdiction stripping is one, which is to say that over a certain subset of cases, the courts lose their jurisdiction. You can abolish judgeships, so you merge courts into different courts. The only court that is mandated by the Constitution to exist is the Supreme Court. All the lower federal courts, those are creatures of Congress, and Congress can alter them, change their jurisdiction, reduce the size of them, increase the size of them. It's just time for the Supreme Court to understand the problem and to understand the legitimacy crisis that they're facing here. It seems like the Supreme Court is more indulgent of the problems of illegal alien gangbangers than they are of their own citizens, and that just needs to change.
The United States is the unquestioned leader in world Wi-Fi because there are a lot of countries where the 6 gigahertz band, which is where Wi-Fi 7, the fastest, newest version of the protocol, lives, there are a lot of countries where that band is used primarily for cell phones. That's the Chinese position, that they don't want that band used for Wi-Fi. They want it used for cell phones. What the heck is 6G? I think right now 6G is more of an idea than an actual product that you can buy. So when the president is talking about opening up spectrum for 6G, he's talking about making sure that we have frequencies and power levels and contours mapped out so that when it comes time to get to the next wireless mobility protocol, we've got a place to park it so that we can get the receivers and transmitters configured appropriately and not run into other services with that. If we want to be able to compete against China in port development projects and other large-scale international industrial projects, you're going to need 5G as the networking protocol because that's become the worldwide standard.
President Trump, any president, has the right to run the executive branch of government as he or she sees fit. Instead, unfortunately, we've had Congress, we've had the courts, we've had unelected bureaucrats trying to impinge and impair the president's ability to do just that. The Supreme Court is being asked to decide whether a single federal district court judge, there are over 680 of them today, can essentially dictate nationwide policy to the president of the United States. Now, I think the answer to that is fairly clear. It's no. A single federal district court judge cannot do that. And yet we've had numerous federal district court judges, particularly in left-leaning liberal blue states, that are seeking to do just that.
As if I didn't have enough reasons to dislike James Comey already, he's now blaming his wife for the instantly infamous post. Listen.
I think it's a clever political message. And she said, you should take a picture of it. I said, sure. And then she said, you should Instagram that. And boom.
He's the former FBI director, so I'm sure he knew the other connotations of 86. And then how low can you go to blame your wife for something you did?
You brought home the third national title in program history and made Florida the only Division I program ever to win 3 national titles in both basketball and football. That's not bad.
The Senate passed the no tax on tips yesterday outside the reconciliation package, 100 to nothing. Everybody wants to climb on to show working class people, hey, I'm with you.